Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Sunday, September 15th. And today, and yesterday, by the way, we are talking about Social Security. And we are so lucky because we have a portion of the webinar that we conducted with Heather Schreiber. She is a Social Security expert, and her mission is to educate consumers so that we can actually navigate our retirement choices with more confidence. Today, with Heather, we are going to talk about the 3 key ages to keep in mind when claiming Social Security. Here is a second part of our interview with Heather Schreiber. There are 3 important ages. There is 62, there's full retirement age, let's call it 67 for now, and there's 70. So at 62, it's the loser deal of the century. Like, you better have a really rotten diagnosis or health outlook to take 62, correct?
Well, here's what I'd say.
Or you need the money.
Well, okay.
Money,
and
right.
you just took, so here's what I say. First of all, run from anybody who says everybody should do this, this, or this. Okay. I don't like that because you are not anybody. You're not everybody. First of all, there are certain situations, and Mark took the words out of my mouth. I mean, some people unfortunately have to do it. Okay. They're either very sick or they can't work.
Yep.
They absolutely have no other choices. Okay.
Right.
But in general, taking at 62 is probably my last choice. And I think that more consumers are getting educated because that actually isn't the normal age anymore. It's turning to be more closer to 65 is now the average age. So I'm starting to believe and hope that that's because people are starting to understand and realize that this is, for a lot of people, one of the few guaranteed income sources that has an inflationary hedge. We need that. Lord knows we need that now. And so when we're all living longer, and we all tend to underestimate how long we'll live. So I think 62 generally, I wouldn't encourage it. And certainly there's some rules that go with that. I mean,
Right.
you can't work and make too much money and do it. And people also aren't thinking about, if you're married, that brings a whole host of issues. Especially if you're the higher earning spouse. I would say, please don't file at 62 if you're the higher earning spouse, because a lot of people don't understand the trajectory of that decision in not only lifetime cash flow, but the cash flow of the survivor. So 62, not my first choice. But again, I would never beat you over the head if you came to me and said, I did that because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, exactly.
Not my first choice.
Extenuating circumstances.
First full retirement age, better.
And then waiting till 70, we know the delayed credits, it amounts to something like 8% a year of additional benefits. Beautiful. But people are worried. They're like, well, what if I wait till 70 and I die when I'm 75?
Right. Believe it or not, sometimes that happens. And it even still, if you're married, that still could be situations where it still was beneficial for the survivor. I mean, and I've seen cases like that where someone did pass away at 75, but because they were the higher wage earner, it did sustain a survivor much better than had they not done that. And so you have to think about that if you're married. And quite frankly, I mean, if you can believe it, widowhood often happens quite early. I mean, the U.S. Census Bureau says that the average age of widowhood is like 59.
What?
Yeah, I read that. That is a statistic. So
good God.
I know that's
incredible.
Frightening.
Yeah.
It's frightening. But the point is, you have to be careful with and not everyone's going to say, gosh, I can make it to 70. But what I always say is, don't rely exclusively on what I call the break even. How long do I have to live to make that worth it? That everyone says that, but it's like, in reality, you really, if you want to look at it like that from a plain vanilla cumulative lifetime benefit standpoint, just to get to 78 or so, if you're looking at a single person, to get to 78 only, which is below average life expectancy for a male, then you would have been better off waiting till full retirement age from a math standpoint. So you got to think about, this is, for most people, I mean, pensions are a dying breed, right?
Yep.
So you have to think, and you think about the cost of living adjustment. I mean, it's not probably keeping up with the average cost of milk these days, but it is something.
Well, except it is something, and it was a huge increase, and it does lag the inflation rate by a year. So like 2022 sucked, 2023 was great, so it does even out.
It does.
So when you're thinking about 62, full retirement age 70, those are kind of your big markers.
Right.
Any other questions that we got to do before we finish up, Mark?
Yeah, I want to just like lump all these together because there's one theme here. I'm just going to use myself as the example. Let's just say I'm 46 years old. I look at my record right now. It says when I'm full retirement age, I'm going to get $3,500 a month. Mm-hmm. But right now I want to do a career pivot and my earnings are going to really go down drastically for the next 10, 15, 18 years. How will that impact that $3,500?
Great question. And oh gosh, we could talk for days. That's a great question. How accurate are these benefit estimates? So your benefit is based upon your highest 35 years of indexed earnings, okay? The closer you get, the more accurate it's going to be to these pivotal ages, 62, full retirement age, and 70, right? So someone like this who's 46, it says, okay, how accurate is this? Well, what Social Security does when you're 46 years old and 47, it uses the most recent year of reported earnings and projects those out as assuming that that's what you're going to earn until those pivotal ages, 62, 67, 60, or 70, okay? For someone like you, the easiest and best way to do that is to go into, and every single person, if you aren't doing this, you need to go in and create a My Social Security account. Mm-hmm. You have to do that. It's like your credit report. You got to look at it every year, make sure your earnings are accurate in there. But if you go in there on the homepage of that, there's a tool called Plan for Retirement. And it is a tool that is awesome because you can go in there and say, okay, well, now I'm going to do something. I'm going to go do something crazy. I'm going to, whatever it's going to be. And I project that now my earnings are going to be this. And instead of waiting for Social Security to catch up with all of your earnings for the next few, whatever, 18 years, you go in and tell it. So there's a sidebar, and right now it'll populate with your most recent year of earnings, but you can change that. And you say, I'm going to make X amount, and then I think I'm going to retire at X date. And you can keep changing the hypothetical earnings. But what it's done is because you've gone into your own account, it already has your historical earnings. So it recalculates your primary insurance amount, your benefit calculation, and then you can download the results and it gives you all the different benefit changes based upon all those earnings assumptions you put in there. It's the best thing since sliced bread. I tell everyone to do it. It's great for business owners too, who want to change their earnings up.
If you want to see the entire Heather Schreiber webinar, all you need to do is subscribe to Jill on Money Live. For $35, you'll have access to quarterly live webinars, the back catalog like our interview with Heather, bonus video content. Our next webinar is coming up in just a week, Tuesday, September 24th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are focused on real estate. So we're going to do a deep dive like we did on Social Security. We're going to do it on real estate. We're going to have a realtor, and we're also going to have a mortgage broker. It's going to be a great show. That's it. You can subscribe to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Try to do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.